Good afternoon, everybody. Hell's Unicorn here once again, and I'm doing another update on recent events surrounding the Congresswoman Giffords shooting. I just watched another video that was put up by Monograph, and man, this just keeps getting stranger and stranger. And he was talking specifically about the federal judge who was apparently caught in the crossfire and who actually died as a result of this shooting. Now, Monograph brought up some rather interesting history with regards to this judge and the stuff that he was mixed up in, and I've linked to his video so that you can see it, and he has a link in his video that you can visit that verifies all the stuff that he's talking about. Basically, he sources everything, and that's one of the reasons why I really like him. But anyway, apparently we've had two people of relative significance within Arizona politics. Essentially, one is knocked off and the other is almost knocked off. To me, it sounds like an act of God that this woman is not dead, considering where she got shot. Point blank range, right through the head, straight through the brain. That's nothing short of miraculous as far as I'm concerned. But it's just, I see all of this really weird stuff that just isn't getting talked about. I mean, we have got confirmation that for about 3 years, this nutsoid individual was actually either working for or somehow tied in and involved with this congresswoman. And apparently, for the better part of 3 to 5 months, as far as I can tell from the guy's YouTube page and his other information, he's been putting up some really bizarre stuff. I mean, I went through all of his YouTube videos, and this is Sirhan territory here. This is literal loopy stream of consciousness, I'm losing my grip on reality kind of stuff here. And apparently, according to some people I've been talking to, I haven't gotten this confirmed yet, but this account is still making posts. So maybe it's just a clone account or some kind of a strange ghost account that's pretending to be the guy. And somebody brought to my attention also that apparently it seems that Ms. Giffords' YouTube channel was apparently hacked. Now, if this is the case, that would explain how this account got onto her subscriber list. It's also equally possible, now that I think about it, that she may have simply approved a friend request from this guy a while back without thinking anything else of it, or again, she may have known him. I have no real information regarding the nature of their relationship other than the fact that he was somehow connected with her in some way for the better part of 3 years. He was either doing campaign work for her, or he was stalking her, going to certain political events. And there's all of this other strange stuff going on right now. I mean, I have, for the first time in a while, I've actually sat down and have started listening to conservative talk radio. Normally I don't do this. Normally I'm on the internet listening to smaller time talk radio people streaming from 5-6 states away, people that are on maybe a dozen channels. But I listened to Rush Limbaugh, and I actually listened to Sean Hannity, both of whom I don't particularly like, particularly Sean Hannity. I really don't like him. But I was listening to Rush, and I heard all of this stuff, just thrown out one after another. We've got this odd monument, supposedly, in the kid's backyard. Now, his parents didn't do anything about this monument. Now, they could just be louses, they could just be slothful parents, they could be people that literally don't give a shit about what their kid does, which is part and parcel of what's wrong with this country and why shit like this happens. Or, it could be something else. I have no idea. I mean, I'm getting virtually nothing of real value other than just some general raw data from the mainstream media, and I've just been burning up the internet ever since trying to find out about more information about this stuff. But in addition to all of this, on Hannity's show, I get a on-location update from one of his street crew, so to speak. They're on site, and get this, the parents of Mr. Launer, our gunman, are not letting the FBI into the house. They are literally not letting the FBI into the house. They've essentially barricaded the door. They're not letting anybody in. Now, what the heck is going on here? I mean, could it simply be that these parents are just whacked out themselves, and that they are essentially, looking for some time to clean things up a bit so that they can get their kid out of trouble? Or is it actually that there is, some sort of conspiracy going on here? I mean, I don't completely dismiss the possibility of conspiracies. I just like to use a measure of skepticism before I jump on board with them. I like to get as many facts as I can before I start speculating on stuff. But this is something really strange going on here. I mean, I remember reading stuff years ago about the connection between the Hinckley family and the Bush family, and I've forever had it etched in my mind that there was something really strange about that assassination attempt on Reagan back in the early 80s, particularly in conjunction with the fact that he was planning on opening up the books on the IRS and looking into the tax code. And, our government is literally trying to stop us from reviewing open public cases on the internet. I mean, there's, the thing with WikiLeaks, you just go down the line. Our government doesn't like people reading about stuff in general. And it's kind of creepy. I don't know how people can view all of this as normal. But to sum it all up, here's what I think about what's going on here. And again, this is pure speculation. Take it with a grain of salt. Feel free to criticize me or to tell me or to give me information to the contrary if you have it. I think that this was a double assassination attempt. I think that the individual in question who committed this was most likely on some kind of medication. I would like to see an investigation into his family to see what their connection is with local politicians or potentially with various other people that might be tied in with either Homeland Security or the intelligence industry. I want some digging done on this so we can find out whether or not this family has any connection with CIA spooks or some sort of big-time corporate interests that are looking to get rid of some enemies or what have you. Something that's not being talked about in the news. We need some real investigative reporting on this. But I definitely think that there's more going on here than what's being talked about. I mean, it is possible that this judge just got caught in the crossfire and that all of this stuff that he's been mixed up in is a simple coincidence. I mean, I've been told, I've never been to Arizona, but I've been told that it's a hotbed for organized crime, for, protection payments, for kidnappings and all this other stuff. And just about everybody that's in state government and represents them in the federal government has some kind of connection with something crooked, be it mafia or something else. I mean, they're not that far from Las Vegas, so it's not that hard to imagine that there's some kind of organized crime element down there. But there's definitely something else going on here than just a crazy person shooting up a place, I think. I could be wrong about that. This individual could just be some whacked out psychopath who was simply allowed to go jolly on his way, parading around the streets, and was able to get himself a gun. And despite all of the warning signs that we have on the internet, nobody tried to to get the guy committed or to get the guy looked at. It says something about our country, but it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility that that's simply what it is. I'm open to just about anything at this point because I am more than convinced, now more so than ever, that the mainstream media, television and otherwise, is keeping things from me, either because they're obtuse or because they're getting paid. But I get this information from places that they source actual government documents, but they're not tied in with the corporate media. And that's the reason why I don't watch televised news much anymore. I occasionally tune in here and there, but I'm basically out of the mainstream media business apart from criticizing them when they deserve it, and this is one of those times. In the coming days, there definitely needs to be more research into this. More people need to talk about it. This stuff needs to go viral, and everybody in the mainstream media has to be forced into talking about this stuff. Because this business of governments being allowed to be secret, this is how this crap happens. I mean, even if we assume, as I said before, that this is all exactly the way the media is presenting it, in which it's just a lone, kooky guy on some kind of medication shooting people, we have a culture that allowed us to think that he was some kind of ideologically driven person. And all of this goes back to contention in politics, and that goes back to the way our government works. We don't have actual representation in our government because we're not being told the whole story. We're not being told the truth. How can we make informed choices when we don't even know what all of our choices are? I don't know. At this point, it's tough to say, who's actually telling the truth and who isn't. But I'm pretty well convinced that the stuff that I've read is fairly accurate, and that Monograph and others like him who have been putting this stuff to my attention are on the right track. Take from it what you will. With prudence to myself and benevolence to all of you, good evening.